check out this video, and I'm telling you, it's really going to help you. And this right here is saying that during a church Sunday service, a lady asked Pastor Reverend Sam Omoye whether it is permissible to use sex toys in a long distance relationship to avoid cheating on one's partner, and the pastor lectured, and I would like to say educated her on it. So check out this video and see for yourself.
Sorry, please, I have one more question.
Yes.
Same distance relationship.
Yes.
You don't want to cheat on your partner.
Right.
Especially for the ladies.
Yes.
Are you permitted to use sex toys?
Okay, fantastic. Well, what is that? Let's go home. Oh yeah, carry your bag. Let's go home. I want to call 3 girls that we should go to their house together. See people bending their heads now. We live in the days of vibrators. We live in the days of all manner of sex toys, and there's never been a time when the sex toy industry is booming like now. So here's the game, ma'am. The moment you start anything that has to do with artificial stimulation, you have altered your sense of your state of consciousness. Don't forget that a vibrator is a vibrator. It is being assisted to do anything that you want it to do. Either it has a battery connected to electric, or it is naturally positioned to function in a vibrating mode, anything, but it is artificially empowered. Right?
True.
You see this man here, you see these brothers here, once it's sexual intercourse. That's why you notice if men want to have intercourse for a little bit of an elongated time than the natural, you see things like Viagra's and all the stuff. Even that is damaging to the man. So the man naturally is not designed to go into a woman for a longer time. You may be fooled by the movies you watch, the porn movies. Now, part of our studies when it comes to porn is that most retired porn addicts, those who are porn stars, have come out to reveal what the porn industry is all about. So the movie you watch where you see a guy trusting through a woman, having all kinds of sexual intercourse with a woman, and it goes on for about an hour, it will amaze you to know that they do that movie in a week. And in a week, the guy is under the influence of drugs. So he does a morning session, he does an afternoon session, he does an evening session, he does the next day like that, he does no session. In the end of the day, they fuse everything together. So a guy who only lasted 2 minutes or 3 minutes, because of multiple scenes, the guy is made to look like he lasts 1 hour. So you watch that, and then you carry a normal man who only has Jesus. So we have a guy who only has Jesus inside him, and because you've already watched this scene where these guys are just trusting through, then the next thing you're doing is say, do it harder, come in harder, and the guy's like, sorry woman, what do I have to give you? Such as I have. Now here's where the trouble lies. Because of all these things you have watched and you are expecting him to do, because he couldn't perform, you will start looking out and say there must be a guy who can do it that way. Do you understand? Now the same thing with vibrators. When you start using these vibrators, they start giving you certain level of stimulation. And don't forget that when a woman is stimulating herself, whether you are touching your clitoris, you are touching your G-spot, whatever it is you are doing, as a woman, you know better than a man your most sensitive spots. This guy is a Jew guy. If you don't lead him, the Bible says that another shall guide you. Is that okay? If you don't guide him and say, bros, put your finger here, put it there, move it there, this we don't have. Oh, that's not our ministry. Do you understand? So for a guy, he has to be taught that this is where you can touch me, this is where you can do. I didn't know in certain spots in women. I saw woman is woman. So until my wife said, come calm down, we will know. So he didn't see all that in the Bible. I said, I don't know where the news show me first Bible. So so my wife had to guide me. If the blind, he shall be led in a way he knows not, like a blind led to the shearer, a lamb led to. So I was led. Is that okay? So the point I'm making is, when you use a vibrator, you likely will use a vibrator to achieve certain levels of sexual excitement that a natural man may not be able to help you to achieve. So you've gotten used to that before you get married. Trust me, most women are saying it now, that they no longer need their men.
Sure.
Because after their men have had sexual intercourse with them, they said that does not get them to the highs. It's like drugs. Once you start taking cocaine, you start taking heroin, it takes you to a high that you can never take yourself to by nature. So it's very damaging to the psyche. It leads to what we call altered state of consciousness. Your consciousness is altered. Your desired level is altered to a level that is not normal, because you are using things that are not artificial. Now you're going to get a guy. You want him when you now get married. You want him to do all those stuff. Unfortunately, he's not wired to do that. Then you're going to run into problem. Like a woman said to me, she said, Pastor Sam, my husband does not know. She married as a virgin, but she got introduced to this thing. As at the time when she came to speak to me, I went to preach in their church, a popular church here, and I preached on infidelity. She said, Pastor Sam, when people came out that day, their pastor was crying. She said, Pastor Sam, if I had come out that day, the church would scatter. Why? Everybody respects her, including her pastor. She's a manager of a big bank. But when she came to me, she said, Pastor Sam, as I'm talking to you now, my mother will be ashamed of the girl she raised and sent into marriage as a virgin. I said, why, ma? She says, I'm talking to you now, there are 4 men I'm sleeping with. 4. And she said, Pastor Sam, she said, I don't know how the wild nature in me got activated. She said, I just can't find satisfaction in one. So she said, there's a man she sleeps with, that one is just for business. There's another guy she sleeps with. She said, that one is a younger guy, and said that's the guy that brings out all the wild nature. He ties her, BDSM, spank, and they do all kinds of. Where did she see spanking from? She watched it somewhere. So vibrators, trust me, if you are into the vibrator business, I'm not telling you to not bring you pleasure, but it will bring you so much pain in the future, because you are going to now start looking for what you can't find in a man. And if you can't find it in your man, you will keep looking for deeper vibrators, bigger vibrators. You're going to be looking for men who can function like vibrators, and certainly you'll not find that within the confines of marriage. Is that okay? All right.
This is a very, very I don't know if I have to say anything. Very, very applaudable, because I honestly, I really find pastors that educate their members, and a lot of guys these days, especially Nigerian guys, have always been saying it, that the church lies to women all of the time. But this is one pastor at least that has educated them and has shown them the truth. And I like the fact that he wasn't biased at all in it. And in fact, that he educated them on pornography was something that really amused me, because I've always said it. When you look at pornography, have you tried to listen to most of these male porn stars? They tell you, first of all, during the shooting scene, for example, maybe if they have to, move to the next scene, towards that period, they have what they call pluffers, PLUFFERS. And these pluffers, in most cases, are usually even men. These men are the ones who stimulate their genitals pending the time they move to the next scene. And these things happen in all porn movies. And like he said, some porn movies take like a week. Of a truth, it does. And so they fuse in the different, and then they merge the different scenes together, giving you the illusion that this person actually spent 5-10 minutes in missionary style, another 5-10 minutes doggy style, another 5-20 minutes cowgirl, all of that. And so you begin to expect that in reality. I made the write-up a very long time ago, where I said that movies have sold the most unrealistic expectations, especially to women. And it's not that men are exempted, but you barely see men actually get that kind of unrealistic expectation in that regard. And even the advertisement themselves have also contributed to it in a very large scale. And so, but then, I still have that statement right here, my reservation right here, that although Pastor Sam Omoye or Reverend Sam Omoye may have educated these people, but of course we know that the bulk of women right there in that church are guilty of the usage of sex toys. And today it's like the normal trend. In fact, these days in comment sections on Twitter, on Facebook, women no longer hide it anymore. And it is normal now for them to come around and tell you that, hey, they are into sex toys and it's none of their business, right? And so I understand, right? I understand how it goes. And I am not here to preach to you. I don't hold any moral compass to say you should live by. At the end of the day, we are all going to do what benefits us, what aligns, what appeals to our interest. And so it's up to you to see, but I'm glad that at least he was able to educate them and to make them see. So now the point now I'm still going to ask is, now if you would now, haven't maybe been convinced by Reverend Sam Omoye's teaching on not using a sex toy. Now, if you do not use sex toy, would you have to masturbate just with your hand, or how would you not at the end of the day manage fidelity or infidelity if eventually the urge continues to come, especially like the lady said, when you are in a long distance relationship. And so, if for me, I don't know, I am not a monogamous individual, and I am not double standard in a sense. So I am not the person preaching polygyny and not and against polyandry, even if it's polyandry or polyamory, maybe type of relationship or open relationships, because I think that we are now in a period in time where the idea of following those archaic methods are gradually becoming unworkable and almost unachievable. And although we may be encouraged by our different religious leaders to say, oh, you have to try and put in effort and all of those things, but the point remains, the point remains that we are human beings after all, and our interest will always trump any decision that we want to make and any discipline that we have. Although, yes, we always have people, exceptions, but like I always say, if you follow some of my videos, even the people whom we think, have found a way to, or have made us believe, because that's how I like to see it as we believe that are disciplined, are not indulging in these particular activities. These same people, probably we only think they are not indulging in it because we have not yet found out. But just because we've not found out does not mean that they do not indulge in these things. The bulk of people, like the example of the woman that he gave, that he said if she had come out, she said that everybody in the church, and so the church would have scattered that day. And so, but then she keeps a holy front, right? This mask in front, and sells us that notion that she married a virgin, and then she's decent, and she's this and she's that, right? Fine. And she sells us that notion, but then look at the secret side, the behind the scene of her life. It is just quite fortunate for the pastors and unfortunate for the bulk of the members that they barely see this dark side. And that is why I am very much attracted to unconventional books like Writings from Aretino, because they show you these sides. They show you how the bulk of nuns and priests have their dark side, because every human has a shadow side. And so they show you these things. And then for me, I expect anything from any human being. I am not the individual to see you show me or present a holy front to me and it convinces me. I am of the opinion that religious people are wilder than the non-religious people, because the non-religious people do not tame these desires. They do not repress these desires, because I have come to understand that the greater the repression, the higher the attraction to those forbidden desires that you are repressing. And so that is why we have the wildest things when we hear some news, and we hear that they come out from maybe the choir mistress, the choir master, a pastor, an usher, a deacon, a pope, or a priest, a nun. We begin to, we act surprised, because we were fooled to think or to expect them to be non-human, because I see it as human. It's human for you to actually want all of this and indulge in it. Man, that's it from me to you. And I must say that is a very commendable one to Reverend Sam Omoye